Guess what? We're back in the project house. No, not that kind of project house. Get your mind out of the gutter. The DIY smart home, of course. We got a few things to catch up on. Some custom components, light automations, a little bit of NodeRed, and some issues we ran into with some automations and why the cloud just sucks. Let's check it out. So luckily we have been able to get back out there and do a little bit of work. We recently did a little hardware install that we will be bringing a video on that soon. But before we get to that one, I'm going to show you a couple light automations, introduce some of you to NodeRed. If you haven't seen that before, it's a pretty neat little solution that you can drag around little bubbles and lines and do some automations without really any coding. Makes it really, really simple. And plus, now we need to get down to the themes on HomeAssistant itself. Yeah, we're a little unorthodox at some times, but I'm not going to make you sit through this entire video because some of you have already done some of this stuff. I'm just going to jump straight to it and show you one of the issues we ran into with the cloud and why it just was a no-go. It just sucks for us. So yeah, about that cloud thing, if you want to totally really get rid of it, you can build your own little project on some high-quality PCBs. And of course, once you design them, build them, send them over to PCBWay, they'll get them done for you and they'll ship them straight to your door. Go ahead and check out their website. They always have some specials going on, and plus they have even different project boards that someone else designed. You can download those and get those shipped to you and try those out. So definitely check them out, PCBWay. Now, if you follow this channel, you know we've done a lot of flashing and doing Tuya-convert of various Wi-Fi smart devices. Well, in this home, we already had some low-Ha's light bulbs, and we really just needed to maybe change the color, turn them off and on, and well, maybe we didn't need to flash them. We could have just used the Tuya integration inside HomeAssistant. I mean, after all, it really is just some bulbs that just light up the room, right? We're not doing any automations on them or rules or whatever it might be. But then we ran into this. And as of the recording of this video, and it is late in May of 2020, and this issue was open probably close to 6 months ago, and there were several little fixes, possibly, maybe, or workarounds, but then it ends up breaking other stuff and it doesn't always work. Well, we had to end up flashing things because we ran into the same exact issue. Now, I will give them this. It is a very simple integration to do to your devices in HomeAssistant. You just add the device to your phone, add all your light switches, whatever it might be, put them in the cloud, nothing really to change or do with the device itself. And then in HomeAssistant, you just come into the configurations, integrations, and simply add in the Tuya integration. Just put your username and password. And really there's no point in even doing a video on the Tuya integration itself because it's that simple. But you're relying on the cloud. And when there's been several tickets and issues in GitHub where it just simply would stop working one day. And of course, the internet, if it's ever down in your home, well, of course, that stops working as well. So you really kind of have to make your decision on what you want to use. And the functionality is not the same. So this one here on the left is using the Tuya integration. And while it does work, it has a little bit of a delay, but there's one big problem. This is an RGB CT bulb, meaning it has 5 channels of color, RGB, warm white, and cool white. Once you turn it on, you'll notice there's a problem. There's no way to change the color. You can only change the color temperature, and you can only change the brightness, unfortunately. And that's about it. But same exact bulb, flash with Tasmodo or ESP Home, whichever you choose. You go to turn it on, you'll notice much different. You get the brightness, you get the color temperature if you want, and you get the color wheel. Plus you do get effects as well. And lightning fast, and no reliance on the cloud or the internet working or someone else's server in their basement working. So we decided to move ahead. Well, maybe the color is kind of a gimmick at times. Of course it is. You're normally going to use warm white or the cool white. So maybe it is fine. But we went ahead and put it in our little pantry with a Y sensor. And, well, let me show you. So these are the little Y sensors. If you haven't seen them before, no, my hands aren't really this big. The sensors are really just this small. They're really cheap and simple to install, and HomeAssistant will leave a link down below if you want to see that video on how we did those. We put this on the pantry, and it was just simply a no-go. Because when you pulled the door open, it almost feels kind of like an eternity at times. I know it's probably not that long, but even it just felt in real life when we'd open the door, which of course we knew there was going to be a little bit of a delay, but we would open it and it would just have a delay on opening the door. And we also had a couple bulbs in the kitchen that we were going to just push a button on the light switch on the wall, and that would send over that cloud command to turn on 2 or 3 light bulbs. And as we were doing more testing and pushing the button, and we even left it like that for a week or so, and we even noticed sometimes that when they had the 3 bulbs in the kitchen, not all the time, we would have 1 bulb may fire or 2 may fire. I guess something with it trying to send the 3 messages to the cloud at one time, it would cause the bulbs not to fire all the time. And of course, when you're trying to push a light switch, you want that light to be almost instantaneous. Well, that just wasn't the case with the cloud, so we just couldn't do it that way. So enough ran over. Well, you can see why we don't use the cloud in this home and including my home for doing lights. Because simply, especially when you're coming across the room with a motion activated light, you'll get halfway across the room before the lights turn on, and that's definitely not good. Now, I know we got a lot of different comments on we shouldn't be doing or wasting our time with doing a door activated smart light or a motion activated smart light. It's just going to waste of money, and we shouldn't do this, and we should put in this light bulb. Well, 4:30 a.m., you hadn't had that cup of coffee yet, and you open the pantry to get some stuff out in the morning. Well, you don't want this to happen. It literally looks like the gates to heaven just opened up at 4:30 a.m. Now, what about if you could make your home smarter and have it do this based on the time? Yep, it's a lot better. So we're going to jump in and show you how we did that. So first things first, we need to get rid of, speaking of bright stuff, this white background in HomeAssistant. Let's install a dark theme. So we need to install a little kind of app store which has a ton of different components and GUI stuff and all kinds of different things, and especially for the ever important Y sensors. And it's actually pretty simple to install. They have some great instructions, and we'll leave that link down in the description of the video. So we're downloading the zip file, and we're going to utilize the Samba share, but of course you could use whatever you want to get this over. And we'll go into the config folder, and we need to make a folder called custom components. And you'll notice this is in the folder with the configuration YAML file. Now with that HACS zip file, you need to extract it with WinZip or 7-zip, whatever you might be using. And you should get a folder that says HACS, and it should kind of look like this. Of course, that could change based on the version of HACS later. So on HomeAssistant, back in that config folder, using the Samba share, where you made that custom components, paste in the HACS folder. So we'll jump back to the white background, go to configuration, scroll down to server controls, and we'll hit check configuration just to make sure, and then we'll hit restart. So while that's restarting, we're going to go ahead and jump through the configuration. And if you don't have a GitHub account, you can go ahead and make you a GitHub account, because you will need to follow these instructions to make your personal access token. And it's going to be unique to you. And there's some great instructions. Now, I've already made my personal access token, and of course I didn't want to share it out on a video for you guys. But it's a pretty simple process to do, and you just go through and follow the exact screenshots and copy your token. So once you have your token, I'm going to go to integrations, and we'll add a new integration, and we'll do a search for HACS. Well, we don't see it. Not a problem, because if you scroll down here, you'll see it says clear your browser cache. Let's just try and do the Control F5 thing on Chrome. And there it is, HACS. And we'll wait for it to be installed. And it's going to pull the requirements. It says if this takes longer than 10 minutes, you may have an issue. Well, we'll go ahead and give it some time. And we're going to paste in, so close your eyes, we're going to paste in my token. All right, we'll go ahead and hit submit. And once you get the success message, we're not added to an area, we'll just hit finish. We have HACS on the left. And we'll go ahead and refresh the page. And we got the little icon for HACS now. Now, if you do get this message up top, says HACS is starting up, just go ahead and let it be. It's got some background task, and just go ahead and, well, maybe take another bathroom break or get some more coffee. All right, once the message is gone, yeah, it is worth it. Watch. We're going to click on front end. Click on the little plus down here by my shoulder. Pretty simple to do. And the first one we want to get out of the way, we're going to type in, well, we're going to Google for the Google. Of course, you can use whatever theme you want. I kind of like this by Juan. And we'll click on that one. We'll click on install. Hit install. And once it's installed, well, I may have lied a little bit. One piece I forgot. So if you come up here and search for theme on the HACS website, to enable the themes, you need to add this to your configuration YAML. It's real simple. Hit copy. We'll jump back to HomeAssistant. So we'll go to our file editor. Make sure your configuration YAML is selected. And we'll go ahead and paste it in here. If it's not, just click the little folder up here and pick your configuration YAML. We'll paste in that code that they gave us. We'll hit save. Go to configurations, server controls, check configuration, and then restart. So click on my profile down the bottom left, and now you'll notice you get a theme. We'll pick Google Dark Theme. Take the sunglasses off, and now we can see again. So there's tons of different themes you can pick out of there. And of course it is by user. You'll just need to change it per user, but you only need to add it once. If you want to look at other themes, just go ahead and go back into HACS. You can go ahead and search for themes or whatever it might be. Pick and play around with some of the themes. Some of them have screenshots, so you don't have to install them and then try to go check them. But of course it is all just GUI. Just go ahead and install them, put them in, pick them, and you're done. Now, there are many other custom repositories. Just basically think of it a bucket of adding other custom integrations, such as the Shelly one. There's the Sonoff one. There's the Wise one. Tons of different little custom component repos you can add into HomeAssistant. Pretty cool. Definitely a very valuable tool, and it's come a long way. And as always, definitely refer to that documentation because you never know when they make things even easier, say, for doing the themes. So after we've done our little custom component store, we did go through and do the Wise sensor installation for some different motion animated lights, as well as some little wireless door sensors. So you've got it on the GUI. They're pretty quick. As you can see, there's no cloud to it. There's no delay. It's just open, close, boom. Pretty cool little sensors. Well, how do we feed this into an automation in HomeAssistant? Well, you can use the automation GUI built into HomeAssistant, but now it has come a long way on doing some little GUI-based things, but sometimes you still got to dig into the code, and well, at the end of the day, I really don't like to dig into some of the code trying to figure out syntax and how I had to spell something, or maybe I put a space somewhere. Well, that's where I learned NodeRed first, so we're going to jump in and show you some NodeRed on how to do this real quick. Now you can hide this here by clicking this little button. That's going to slide things over a little bit. It may do us enough for the sake of this video. So NodeRed's actually pretty simple. You got to think of it as it starts with an action or something changing in your home. Some sort of state, whether it be a motion sensor or time hitting, or you turn something on, etc. Or say humidity came up in the bathroom and well, now you want to turn on a vent. So for us, real simple, we're going to drag out the event state. Of course, that's real simple. It's going to be an event from a state. So we'll go ahead and double click it. And we're going to call it pantry door. And we'll go ahead and start to type in pantry. And we get that binary sensor from our Y sensor. We called it pantry door. And we're going to go ahead and put something in here. If you don't know the state, and I do like to open up 2 windows of HomeAssistant. That way I can come down here. I can go to developer tools and I can go to states and I can do a search for that pantry door. And what I'm looking for is the exact raw state of that sensor. It's going to be off because you don't want to use the closed or open. That's more of that human readable, kind of like a template. And if you need to use the off, you'll see now when I take the sensor away, like as you open the door, it's going to be on. And when the door closes, it's going to be off. So back in NodeRed, if the state is on, and then we'll hit done. And what that does, it gives you 2 paths. So now when that state is on, you can have it branch and go this way. And then when it's off, you can have it branch and go this way. We'll go ahead and throw in a call service. Drag it out. Double click. Pantry on. For domain, if you don't know, well, just scroll down. You'll find it. It's light. Service. What do I type in there? Well, just click. We want to do a turn on. Now for entity ID, well, just go ahead and start typing. I'm going to use the pantry local light because I don't want to deal with the cloud one anymore. And for data, we'll get that in a minute. We'll leave that blank as not required right now. Hit done. Pantry on. Now, instead of redoing all that, if you click it and hit Control C, get 1 node copied. Control V, you get 1 pasted. Boom. Come back in, change it to off. And you guessed it, go to service, type it to turn off, hit done, and you're good to go. Now it's as simple as this. Click on the little dot here and drag it to pantry on. Drag this one to pantry off. That's it. Now to save your changes, it's the deploy button. I do like to change it to hit the little down arrow and change it to modified flows only. And just hit the red button and it's going to push that out. And that's it. No restarting of HomeAssistant. No hit and reload, no nothing. All you got to do is deploy. So let's go ahead and test it right quick. So we got the light bulb here, Y sensor. Let's open the door. Boom. And you'll notice even when I kind of flickered it, it even flickered the light on and off pretty quickly. Pretty quick, and does it all local without any cloud. And we just did a little simple automation using NodeRed. So now we need to add one additional thing where we're going to change the color temperature based on the time of day. Now, if you need to resize stuff, you can do the zoom out right here so you can see additional space on the little NodeRed flow. And of course, you can add other tabs to organize your different flows. So on the pantry off, that's going to be the same no matter what time it is. So we're going to kind of drag that one out of the way. And then we're going to take this line and we're going to go ahead and click on it, and it should change colors, and hit the delete key. And then up here in the filter, go ahead and type in time range or just the word time. And you should get the time range and just click and drag it out. And we'll go ahead and connect it up. Double click. We won't give it a name because it'll automatically populate. And for the start time, we'll go ahead and say, now this is going to be in military time. So we'll say 2200, 22:00, and then we'll stop at 9 a.m. And you don't have to put AM, just put 9:00. And we'll hit done. And it automatically changes the name based on the time. Pretty cool. So basically, what it does, if you hover over it, and it may be hard to read with my little circle halo thing, it says within that time, it goes this way. And then outside that time, it goes this way. So it just branches based on time. So one thing we do want to do is, you don't really know exactly the brightness and color and everything you want, is go ahead and maybe with your phone using the HomeAssistant app or just the browser, is go to that light, and while you're standing next to it, go to Developer Tools and look for that light and find you a color that you like and brightness that makes sense to you, what you would want to see, say at that 5 a.m. time. So we'll put it pretty warm, and we'll go ahead and put the brightness way down. We don't want it too bright. Now you can look at the numbers here. There's brightness 48, color temp 500. That's kind of the two big keys we're looking at here. And as well, you can see them here. There's brightness 48 and color temp 500. So how do we use those? It's pretty simple. Once you go into the on command, if you double click it, you're gonna get this data thing. And I know it is JSON, and JSON can be a pain to read and write sometimes. Well, there's a cool little tool. If you hit these three dots and go over to Visual Editor, and we'll go ahead and we'll hit Add Item, and see it automatically puts the information for you. And I'm a big copy and paste guy. So I'm gonna go over here, and I'm just gonna double click the word brightness, copy it to my clipboard, double click over item, paste it. And it is showing as an alpha, but I do believe HomeAssistant will go ahead and convert that for you. But you can change that to numeric if you're really picky on it. So we're putting 48. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add one below it. Now, of course, if you knew how to write JSON, real simple, go ahead and do it. Doing everything for the people that don't like to do that, including myself, because you can miss key stuff. So we'll go to item, paste it color temp, and our color temp was 500, and we'll hit done. And you'll see it goes ahead and writes it for you, puts the brightness 48, color temp 500, boom, done. Now we found the morning color. Let's go back to the light, and we'll put it somewhere, say in here for daylight, and we'll go ahead and turn the brightness up. Maybe it's a little too bright for the sake of this video, so we'll leave it down a little bit. And we'll remember it's 112 and 235. So we'll go ahead and actually just copy this one and paste it. We'll go ahead and rename this one to WW for warm white, and double click this one for cool white. And we'll just come down here, make it easy. Brightness was 112. And temperature was 235. And we'll hit done. And if you want to see a real easy way to test something without having to actually perform that automation or event, if you search for inject, and don't let it confuse you when it says this timestamp, just go ahead and connect it up. Drag it on over, drag you another inject out, and all it's doing is you're making an action to kick this guy on. So we hit deploy. Yeah, we haven't hooked all this up yet. No problem. When we click on our little buttons on the timestamp that highlight, you can see just it starts and kicks off. And then you click the button, boom, we know we got our colors right and everything works. So we can go ahead, you don't really have to, but we'll go ahead and we'll delete these just because it starts to get kind of messy at times. So, well, you guessed it. We want it within this time range. Drag it on over to the warm white, and then we'll drag it on down to cool white. And then we'll hit deploy. The look of how this is laid out is all going to be up to you. It doesn't care. It's just cosmetic. You can drag things around and do what you want. So now the light's off, door's closed, open the door, and we get the warm white because we're within that time range. And you could test it by just changing the time and it would fall into that different time range. So pretty simple, does the pantry door, and it doesn't blind us in the early morning hours and look like the gates of heaven just opened up and just poof. And it's sometimes the simple things like that that just make it all worthwhile. And we didn't spend much money doing this. It was pretty simple. And we just drug some little lines around. And we will get more into some NodeRed with doing, say, the automated vent in the bathroom for that bathroom sensor we did. It definitely helps prevent issues in the bathroom by keeping that humidity down, especially when that shower is going. So that wraps it up for this one. We all should be caught up now. Sorry for the delay, well, but it was due to some other circumstances out of our control. Well, you probably already know about them, and we're just not going to simply go there. So definitely whichever way you choose, whether you want to use the automations built into HomeAssistant or you want to use NodeRed, this is truly where you make it a smart home and not just a voice-controlled or manual phone-controlled home. It's when you really make the house make decisions for you and you really add smarts to it, such as we mentioned, say that automated bathroom vent that we're going to do, and, well, one of the other ones that we're going to do next. So I appreciate all the Patreon subscribers. Helps bring new videos and new projects to the channel all the time. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks. And you know the drill. Smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, catch us in our next live stream, and y'all take care. And the battery time is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. I don't even have a word. Look at it. This is not what we wanted. It looked like the freaking gates to heaven opened.
Oh my god, it's so good. That's perfect.
I know.